Hey, it's Safi and Marco dish on the movies. And we're on round two, or is it round three, of another horror movie. This one is based on a story or a series of stories by H.P. Lovecraft. And the main characters in the movie are Herbert West, who is played by Jeffrey Combs, Dan Kane, played by Bruce Abbott, Megan Halsey, by Barbara Campton, Dr. Carl Hill, David Gale, and Dean Halsey, meaning like the Dean of Arts and Science, the head of a division of the school, is played by Robert Sampson. We open in a hospital room where a young Dr. Kane is trying to resuscitate a patient. I didn't see the needle inserted into the body that they usually show in a hospital drama, or the defibrillator and paddles. Just the hands of Dr. Kane's doing chest compressions on a deceased patient. Maybe the usual methods had already been tried before the viewers were allowed to see what was going on. Enter a visitor from Switzerland, a new student, a new intern, named Dr. Herbert West, who is really full of himself. He has an idea, a plan, an ongoing research project that he tries to work on when he can, and that is bringing the dead back to life with the help of a greenish, glowish substance he concocted. He acts like a jerk, and even snaps his pencil in half, interrupting Dr. Carl Hill's presentation. And that doctor is already established, and he is 10 times full of himself. And what happens when two doctors, one who is already established like Dr. Hill, and the other, an intern, both possess the same mindset? They clash, big time. Dr. West disagrees with the older doctor's ideology on patients who are dead. Dr. Hill says that they can't ever be brought back to life. Instead of being dismissive of his ideas, Dr. West thinks the old school doc should give it a chance. But what he and others don't know is that Dr. Hill isn't shy about stealing others' research, although some suspect it. And also he is lusting after Dean Halsey's college-age daughter, Megan. Dr. West applies to room with Dr. Kane, the one who tried to revive the dead patient at the beginning of the movie. Dr. Kane agrees to him staying there, much to the chagrin of Megan Halsey, who is also his girlfriend and Dean Halsey's daughter. The new roommate is strange and never comes out of his room. He also spends quite a bit of time in the basement. When Dr. Kane and Megan can't find his pet cat, they look for it, and Megan finds it dead inside Dr. West's room fridge. Quote, "It was an accident," he claims, but that is debatable. Nobody knows for sure, nor can they prove it. Megan, however, is slightly suspicious, but that night she returns to her house. When Dr. Kane falls asleep and wakes up during the night because of a noise, it's a very odd sound, and it seems loud outside Dr. West's door. And then it gets louder, and a lot of banging is going on. It sounds really bad, so Dr. Kane runs into the room and discovered the raging cat running all over the room and then jumping on Dr. West's back. It takes a massive amount of strength and determination to stop it, and the two interns manage to kill it again. Dr. West explains what has just happened because Dr. Kane is flummoxed by what he just saw. His dead cat, which had come back to life, but acting crazy. Dr. West tells Dr. Kane about his work, and he agrees to help him when he can. From then on, everything gets crazy town. And at one point, I just had to laugh because what I saw was so ridiculous. It couldn't be taken seriously. Marco?
Well, first off, before I start discussing this movie, we wanted to get the horror movies done by December 1st or maybe December 2nd. But it looks like now, based on circumstances beyond my control, it'll be extending into into December somewhat. And sorry about that. It's not my fault for inconveniencing you having to wait. It's beyond my control. So with Re-Animator, automatically in the opening scene, it was 1,000 times better than Subspecies. In fact, this whole movie, it seems like it was made by people who like Frankenstein, people who are fans of the genre. It doesn't seem like it's made by people just doing things because, oh, we should have these stereotypes because it's easy. We should have gore because because people like gore. It seems like they really put thought into writing a story, into having fun, and to making a good horror movie. And all the people who make these stupid fake horror movies nowadays, they should go back and watch Re-Animator because this is an example of how to kind of reboot something slash do something very original and good. Because with this movie, it actually takes a couple of different Frankenstein movie plots and puts them into one. Such as there's a part in the movie, and now this won't spoil anything because Safi went a little beyond this scene, so it won't matter to you if you know it. Dr. West, the girlfriend discovers the dead cat with the boyfriend, and Dr. West gets mad at them, and he says, well, if you tell them that I have a dead cat, I'm going to tell them that you two are sleeping with each other and this, and this. And so he's kind of blackmailing them to keep quiet. And if Safi might remember, this is very reminiscent of Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, when you had the couple living, the woman, Veronica Carlson, she ran the house, but there was that couple, and Frankenstein blackmails them into helping him with his experiments. And so that's what I really liked about this movie at first. But when I was watching this movie, I did something bad. Well, it was just an accident. I was watching it, and for some reason, I thought the opening scene was a flash forward, and I clearly didn't see that it was before all this story. So I thought the whole movie that everything would be building up to this one scene, and that certain things would happen, certain characters would be like they are, and I was wrong. And so that kind of took me out of the movie near the end. But then as soon as this thing happens near the end, it gets really exciting and picks back up and made me forget all about how I was wrong and how I was kind of weirded out by how different it was. And it's a very different movie too. I did not take it as a comedy though. I thought some moments were definitely very funny, but overall I was very uncomfortable by how evil the characters were and how dark the movie was, because the movie's very nihilistic in its messaging. I mean, they start off saying once someone dies, you can't bring them back to life. And then at the end of the movie, once someone dies, you can't bring them back to life. And so it's a very dark movie, and I think that if they didn't have the comedy, that it would be even worse because it would make it even darker than it already is. You want to jump in there, Safi?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if they took themselves seriously. Um, uh,
The main
I don't know.
Doctor West. I'll just let you think about what well, I'll just continue while you think. Doctor West, he immediately was very uncomfortable to me because he wouldn't shake people's hands. He was very rude to them. It seemed like he was already evil before the movie even started. Like, and something else too. He's probably in my top favorite horror characters of all time now, just from this one movie, because he took uh, Peter Cushing's Dr. Frankenstein, where they made him evil, and then he took Dr. Frankenstein from the Boris Karloff version and kind of combined them into his own character. It was such a cool character, and the best parts of the movie are the parts where it's him and then the young kid. It's them working together, their chemistry, them doing these experiments together. So, did you think of anything, Sophie?
Well, I just thought it was so ridiculous that's if you didn't think of it as a comedy in certain parts of it, not all of it, that you would just get, I would have given it a bad review. And I told you that too. And Marco does a lot of legwork on these movies, and I don't I don't even look at the case of the movie or a movie poster or anything. So I had no idea what the movie was about, and I have never read H.P. Lovecraft ever. I've heard of him, but I've never read him. So um, I did happen to read this story. Although it was very short. It was only 15 minutes long, the audio part, and it was a little different, and it's really good. And so that helped me with the movie. It has the twist of it is very different and interesting. And when they do the cat, you know, it was really good they did that in a way, and that's really weird because we're cat people in the house, but it looked so fake that you couldn't take that seriously. In other words, it's not going to bother you because it's fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it totally looks fake.
As soon as they started talking about, oh, where's the cat? Where's the cat?
Never saw the cat.
I was like, uh-oh, Safi isn't going to like this movie, and I'm going to have to do this review while she complains about the movie because of this one plot point of a cat getting killed. But then I saw the cat, and it looks very fake, and I like that a lot because it actually adds enjoyment to the movie. The fact that they won't go to a certain level with the realism, because at certain points that can get really uncomfortable, and they do that all the time nowadays. Nowadays they think the more real the better, and it usually doesn't work. It usually actually makes the movie worse because you're so focused on thinking, oh, what if this actually did happen? You're not really thinking about the movie and enjoying the movie.
Yeah, but what it really brings out because of the cat is that now I didn't read Frankenstein. Marco did the original, but uh, in order for any of these people in any of the Frankenstein stories, in order for them to work on people, they had to have worked on animals. And if they did say it, which I never recalled it, uh, or not, they never show it. I don't remember
With
seeing any other
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, any kind of Frankenstein movie, modern or old.
You're forgetting one. Curse of Frankenstein, which is better than this movie. At the beginning, there's a puppy or a dog that dies, it dies, and Frankenstein takes it down, and he brings it back to life with his friend, and it comes back to life, and it's a perfectly good puppy again or whatever, and they did that in that movie because the whole Frankenstein story is based on when they did these stupid experiments on frogs in the 1800s, I think, or 1700s. They took these frogs and they electrocuted them after they were dead, and they said that because they moved, their bodies moved around, that meant that they were coming back to life. And so part of the inspiration was them doing stupid experiments on dead animals.
Well, so anyway, so you have to give them credit for doing that and to having something with the cat, and also with any other experiment. I mean, any experiment, the first time you do it, and let's say something positive happens, it may not be completely the way you expect or the way you want it to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. So for the cat to be acting like a wild man, that is plausible because you don't know what's going to happen. And he said in the movie he'd worked on other, I think he did, that he worked on other animals, but it was before he came there. So we don't see any of that. We just see the cat and what happens with the cat.
That was the funniest part of the movie for me, with the cat when it came back to life. That was the funniest scene in the movie, in my opinion. And something else to mention in this movie, there was quite a bit of nudity that Safi didn't like, and it was funny.
It's good to tell other people because some people really don't like that, and it's helpful to at least warn them. So we're forewarned.
I warned Safi 3 times.
Yeah, he warned me, so I'm fine.
I said, skip forward at this one spot at the beginning.
And I forgot about it.
And she forgot about it, and then she complained about it. She's like, her boobs were flopping all over the place. It was so weird. and that scene's very out of place, but you expect that. It's an 80s horror movie. I mean, that's par for the course, and like with the Friday the 13th movies, there's always that in every movie, but at least usually with those scenes, whenever people are doing that, they get killed when they're doing it, and so it's cool because Jason comes in, and it's like, stop that, and he just kills them, and then in general, I was glad that there was a certain twist in this movie that made the movie 1,000 times better for me. Originally, this movie was at, it's pretty good. I like it. Grade. Originally, it was there. But then there was this certain twist happened, and the movie immediately went up to, oh my god, this movie is awesome level. And so I bet Safi knows what that is. So, yeah, all in all, I think that this movie, it's a classic for a reason. I think that it's not overrated, it's not underrated, it's rated perfectly. There's a lot of people who love it, there's some people who don't like it, like Safi, but overall, I think it's a great movie that we both watched. And I think that also, it's crazy. It's a crazy movie, and it's not a movie that's afraid of doing new things and different things. And so a lot of the times in the movie you'll wonder, are they really going to do this? And then they'll do it. And there were some intense moments in the movie too. There were some very intense moments. I don't want to give any more plot details away because we've been basically having a kind of spoiler-light discussion. So do you have anything else to add, Safi?
Well, I wanted to mention the music was similar or the same as Psycho.
Yeah.
And so I like that a lot. I like the Psycho music, and that movie happened a long time ago. So I guess they got permission to do it, or I don't know what happened. But one thing they were really good with the music, because every time anything happened, no matter what it was, they played a different type of music, and it kind of signaled a change. And I thought that was effective and good. And it was really good music, especially with the intensity of the action that was going on. That it helps it, it enhances it. Um, so
And
I just think,
it's a very rewatchable movie too. Come on, Safi. Another thing is that Safi didn't know this was supposed to be a comedy.
no, I
She
don't know.
she thought that it was completely serious, and so she originally gave it a horrible grade. And I had to inform her on these certain things that kind of changed her decision. And so, does that make it a better movie? I don't know, because personally, when I watched it, I really enjoyed it for the most part. There was a part near the 3/4 mark, again, like with Peeping Tom, where it kind of was like, like is this all? Like, can we get something more exciting, please? Like, and another thing is that this movie should have been longer. There were a lot of things in this, a lot of characters in this movie who didn't really get the chance to interact in normal circumstances as much. Like, it seemed like they had 30 minutes of normalcy, and then the rest of the 1.5 hours is complete insanity. And so I think that it would have been to their benefit if they added a couple of more scenes with, for instance, there was this plot line about the cat and how the cat did not like West at all.
No.
But he loved the boyfriend. Well, we never even get to see the cat with the boyfriend or
No,
anything.
not at
So
all.
they should have taken out the sex scene, put that in the director's cut, and and have the theatrical cut be showing a scene with the cat doing that. So, would you like to rate it, Safi?
Yeah, well, like Marco said, I had no idea what the movie was about, and I was going to actually give it a bad food review. But after what Marco told me, that it identifies itself as a comedy, I guess you would classify it as a comedy horror movie. And there were some unexpectedly funny events. Some of the scenes were so outrageous that a person could think they were watching some kind of demented fairy tale. And if you know the story of Frankenstein, this movie has a relationship to that story, but with a totally different twist. So I'll give it a dozen decorated Christmas cookies with red and green frosting and a little colored sugar for originality and good music, which highlighted the action. I guess the question is, should I look at a trailer or read something before watching a movie that I've never seen before? And at that time, in 1985, I was out of the country for almost a year, so I really had never even heard of the movie before. But it did encourage me to audio read H.P. Lovecraft's radio series of the Re-Animator. And like I said earlier, I've never read any of his works, and I really enjoyed the writing. So check out this movie and the audio tapes. There's like 8 or 10 of them. The tapes themselves are only 15 minutes long, and the movie itself is an hour and a half. And warning, which Marco has already told you, there are a few fake sex scenes and a little bit of nudity. Just fast forward a few seconds of it if it bothers you. Also, there is a lot of blood as compared to Peeping Tom, where there was really basically little or next to none. So be prepared, but not scared. It's fake after all, and a little bit of grossness too.
Well,
Okay, what do you rate it? I can't wait to hear.
this movie, it's a lot better than Peeping Tom, and for the simple reason that it's allowed to do what it needs to do to show the art of the story. Like, it's not the fact that we want to see these like long gratuitous shots of things and that we enjoy seeing violence. It's just that it's the payoff of everything going on in the story. It's the fact that why are you pretending like this blood doesn't squirt out of this area when someone gets stabbed? And in this movie, as I said, it's insane. But the funny thing is, I knew exactly what I was going to rate this movie. 20 minutes into the movie, 20 minutes in, and my rating never changed throughout the entire movie because it's gotten to a point now where I've gotten a little bit better at rating movies while watching them. Usually I have to like really think about them, and so it's really hard to do these like same day reviews for new releases because I have to think. But with this movie, very, very simple. Easy rating. A turkey burger! I've had a bunch of different types of burgers. I've had, I guess, salmon patty's kind of a salmon burger. I've had beef burgers. I've had steak burgers. I've had bison burgers and lamb burgers and turkey burgers. And turkey burgers, they have a very weird taste to them, but they taste very good and authentic. They have a strong taste. They can be a little dry, and that's where we get something else. Boom! Ketchup and mustard on the turkey burger. It's a perfect turkey burger, but the way it was cooked, it's a little too dry. That represents how it gets near the end, near the 3/4 mark, and then boom! On the side, you have a twice-baked potato. And I was thinking about, like, experiments and Frankenstein and putting body parts together. Twice-baked potatoes, you have to do all that weird stuff with the insides and twice-bake it and with the sour cream and the cheese and everything. That represents the gore and all the blood and the violence and the effects. And then to top it all off, if that wasn't enough, we have a soda. Not just any soda, a punch. It's a green punch made with like 7-Up and lime juice and ice cream, lime ice cream, and it's a lime punch soda drink. And this represents the soundtrack. Because the soundtrack, the movie would not have been as good without that soundtrack. Because the soundtrack, there's a lot of little different things in the movie that help assist the movie because they remind you of other movies. And with the Psycho theme, like a little part of the Psycho theme, it really helped the movie wash everything down. Oh yeah, there was a movie called Psycho. It was about this guy who went psycho, and this was part of the music. And so it's cool that this music is playing because these characters are also going psycho. And it's like, yeah, everything goes together. So twice-baked potato, a turkey burger, and then a lime punch soda drink. What do you think of that, Safi?
Wow. I thought you were going to say it represented the concoction he made to help people, to revive people. Well, it was greenish like that. Well, exactly like that drink you mentioned.
It does that too. That's another reason I did that, because if not, I would have just said, oh, it's a root beer float, or oh, it's just a soda. Yeah, I definitely did take that into consideration. And fun fact, what they used for the actual liquid was the liquid from inside glow sticks.
Oh, really?
And so that's very fitting, because it was that was great too. Wow. The way that it's this glowy liquid. I mean that's so fun. It's so horror-y. It's so off the wall and crazy. And so Now, for a couple of spoilers, Dr. West was not the villain of this movie. I was very shocked that he was not the villain.
No.
Because he was so evil at the beginning of the movie. The way that he was just... it's like he came here to kill people. And he came here to do these experiments that would lead to extreme harm to people. And I also thought he would be the cause of people getting their girlfriends killed. He would be the cause of other people getting killed. But in the end, he really came to the rescue. And that was such a cool moment. That was my favorite part of the movie, was this part where the bad guy, the evil professor, he took her hostage. And that was gross,
Dr.
too.
Hill.
Because he was trying to do things with her, with his chopped off head, and having this headless body help him do that. And that was so creepy and gross and horrifying. And Safi said that was gross too, and she said that was a negative thing. And I said, Safi, it's a horror movie. That's what horror movies do. And so that also helped Safi. That's the other thing I was talking about earlier. But then Dr. West comes in and he's like, I have plans for you. And then the other guy's like, oh, I have plans for you too. And then every single corpse in the entire morgue comes back to life. That was so cool and just like a moment, like, yeah, we're not going to just have this stupid little showdown. We're going to have this big, epic horror type showdown. And these monsters are scary too. You thought that the Frankenstein monster was just a lifeless body. It was just, oh, yeah, that's not very threatening. Because in the Hammer movies, the doctor is the one who's the monster, and the monsters are really weak in the Hammer movies. But in this movie, all the monsters, they are terrifying. In particularly, I've been using that word every review. And so I think it's a cliche with me now. But that when they first brought back that one guy back to life, it took like all their strength to kill that one monster. And so when you saw all those bodies, you think back, oh my God, how are they going to survive this? If it took all that strength to kill that one monster, how are they going to even kill every single corpse in the morgue? And then also, we get to the ending. The ending is very tragic. Safi admits this as well. Safi thought the ending was sad. And because they have this nihilistic message, his girlfriend gets strangled just as he helps her and saves her. She gets strangled and her trachea gets crushed. And that's death. And so she dies. And then once again, like at the beginning of the movie, he's trying to bring her back to life. And the message is that you can't. And that was so fantastic, because this movie also talks about death, like Phantasm from last year. That was what was Phantasm all about. And so I think that this movie is much better than Phantasm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you agree, Safi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
What was your favorite part, Safi, and least favorite part, really quickly?
Well, Dr. Hill gets his head chopped off, which Mark already mentioned. And he walks around, this headless body walks around with what he was originally wearing, which I think was like a black long coat rain jacket. And he's carrying his head in a tray. And he can open doors and close doors and do things with his hands and arms, but yet it's very awkward for him. And then he sets the head on the table. I just thought that's when I think that's when I was laughing.
In his office.
He
sets it on the desk, and then the headless body doesn't know what to do, and so it's just walking around the room, and then I think he like knocks into the wall and everything, and that was funny. But I was more focused on just God. This guy's evil. Like he's and he's so intelligent that he's able to do this because just imagine that he it's a head. It's just a chopped off head, and somehow he's masterminding this plan. And to me, it was like he had a plan all along, and that was also frightening because Dr. West, I mean, they threw such a curveball with
Yeah.
that twist.
Yeah, well, you just never expect it, but they can be the worst of all.
So, what was your least favorite part of the movie
Uh,
besides the boobs
that gross,
flopping around?
that gross part with the girl and the older
Okay.
doctor, I didn't care for that at all.
Oh,
And I don't know anything else. That the cat thing, that could have been really bad, but since it looks so fake, I hardly even noticed it. It just, when you go to the Halloween store and they have all these fake animals like big rats and it's usually like rats and bats. That's what it looked like, something you get at the Halloween store. I don't know if they had the Halloween store in 1985, but it really looked like that's where they got it.
I thought that the cat thing was hilarious
Yeah,
because
it was just ridiculous.
after this 30 minutes long of thinking that he's this like evil psychopath, he goes down there and the cat's on his back and he can't get him off of him, and that was very funny. And they had to chase him around like it was like a cartoon. And so yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. One other thing. Well, whatever. It was a fantastic movie to me. Safi, I guess she liked it. She originally gave it a bad review, but then I informed her and she gave it a better review. So, yeah. The next movie we will be reviewing is called Brides of Dracula. Our Hammer movie. We always include a Hammer movie every year because we're such big fans. Last year, I think we did Dracula, Prince of Darkness, and the Vampire Lovers, and this time we're doing Brides of Dracula. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon.